Good morning, everyone.
Good
It's
morning.
Saturday Zoom time. How you doing, Kath?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I am hunky-dory. A little bit, everyone.
Good morning.
Oh, wait a minute.
Saturday Zoom time.
Guess what?
How you doing, Kath?
I'm doing well, thank you. How about yourself?
I am.
Let me fix that.
A little bit.
Now, can you still hear me?
Yes.
Great. I can't hear you, so I can't do that. Why is it doing that for me today? Hold on.
Okay.
I think I can solve my problem. You can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
Okay, now I can hear you. Yeah, it automatically went total sound on me, and it's never done that before. So I don't know. I didn't know how to fix it. Okay, there's everybody. Hello, everybody. All right. So there we go. It's 11 o'clock. Time for Saturday Zoom. Saturday Zoom. You got to be sure you're in the room. Yeah, we're still working on that. I got to get my brother on that, on our jingle, our little jingle. What, you got anything going in your diffuser this morning? Anybody?
I do. Today I have white angelica in my diffuser.
Ooh.
I'm thinking I need a little more positive energy, and I think this is going to help me with that.
Well, because I didn't say last week what I was diffusing, because I was all kerfuffled because you weren't here. At least you weren't here in the beginning. You came in, yay. But I forgot to even mention what I was diffusing. So I thought I had a lot of work to do. Today is May 1st, new promos come out. So I had a lot to do this morning before I even got showered and ready for this. So I put in motivation.
Ooh,
keep me motivated.
I like that.
And as I was working, I was smelling it and I was like, ooh, what is that smell? It smells so good. It smells like it's floral, but it's really nice. And then I was like, oh, duh, it's your diffuser. Motivation. So I'm motivated to have a great show today. And you know, my printer is 90% done, but I'm just going to pause it here because it's driving me crazy hearing that noise. So I don't want to be a bother to any of you. So our topic today is change. And last week we talked about all the reasons why people don't change or why they don't heed the warning signs, right? When there's trouble, when someone has told you something, or you've read something, or you hear the warning, you read the warning on the label. Why don't we heed that? And we went through quite a lot of, wow, it's actually writing what I say. New feature, I guess. I hope I speak clearly and succinctly. So we went all through the reasons why we don't do it. But now we're going to assume that we're going to want to change in some areas, and what things, what we change in our lives could really make a difference in our health and our wellness and even our sanity. Everybody's is going to be different, right? But say you want to make a change. How do you do it where it's long lasting, where it sticks, you know? Case in point, me and dieting. I have the best intentions to eat healthy, to lose weight, to, embrace a healthy lifestyle, especially when it comes to food. And I do, but then I don't. And so in order for something to be lasting, it has to be a permanent change. And I think dieting sets us off for failure right away, like just immediately, because we always think of being on a diet as a temporary solution to a problem. But
I think being on a diet too is, you think of it as restricting instead of something healthy that's going to empower you or help your body to make you healthy, you know,
Right.
or to put you on a road to health.
Right.
Better way of stating
So
that, I think.
that's an attitude thing, right? Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So when you're on a diet and you think you're eating these certain foods because your ultimate goal is to get healthy or to lose weight or whatever it is, what happens is maybe you're successful, right? You lose
Mhm.
15, 20, 100 pounds. Would be nice. But as soon as you reach that goal, you think, well, I don't need to be on this plan of of food anymore. I can relax a little bit. I can go ahead and have some ice cream or whatever it is you have restricted yourself from having. And what happens is you've just undid or undone undid the all of the good work that you did. And what you did was you said, I just want to change temporarily.
Mhm.
And what happens? The weight comes back on, right? Or you get unhealthy or you feel bad because you make allowances. So Kathy, I always like, I mean, we're not here to talk about dieting today, but I always like your
Right.
philosophy is just adopting a healthy lifestyle that's not exclusive of anything, but just just eating more of the good stuff so that you can occasionally have some of the bad stuff and keeping 90% of your diet in the wellness.
Right. And don't beat yourself up. I mean, as far as if we're going to have like a little cheat meal or something, don't make that cheat meal a daily thing. You know, that's a once in a while thing. Maybe there's an item that you've really been craving, you know, just have that little bit and you'll get over it. The taste is gone, the craving's gone, move on. You just can't deal with having, I mean, your body can't deal with having those little cravings consistently because that's what totally derails us from any healthy eating plan or any healthy workouts or whatever.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. And I think you can become more restrictive with yourself later on. So if your ultimate goal is a healthy lifestyle, one person I was reading said, if you know something's bad for you, why would you ever eat it? Because that's doing harm to your body. And we make allowances for ourselves because of the pleasure factors. Like, oh man, but I love a hot fudge sundae, or I love just bread and butter. So
Right.
when I think that's another level. So we're not even going to go there. We're here to talk about how do you make that change. Good
Mhm.
morning, Camille.
Hi, Camille. How are you?
Morning. Good.
Thanks
How are
for
you, ladies?
joining us. Good. We're doing very good.
Good.
Hi, Camille.
Hi. How are you, Mary?
I'm good. Can I say something about that diet
Yeah,
stuff?
absolutely. You can always speak up. You know that.
I went to Weight Watchers, which I succeeded a lot of times, but they always said it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change.
Mhm.
And you don't deny yourself anything. If you want it, you'll have a little piece of it, because when you deny it, it starts building up in your head and building up in your head.
Right.
So, and there's also another way to make it, which would be more healthier. You
Right.
just have to research it.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
you can have anything you want, and of course, portion control, the main thing.
Mhm.
Don't eat the whole bloody pie, just
I think
eat a little teeny slice.
with Weight Watchers, though, there's a mindset that I'm on the Weight Watchers plan. So I have to follow all of their rules. And yes, they're telling you it's a lifestyle change, but how many people, when they stop paying for whatever they're paying for Weight Watchers, continue to do the same eating plan? Do you? Good for you.
Yeah, I was on it, and not all of them, but those principles still you kind of think about with, especially since they changed their plan. It made it a lot easier to follow.
Right. I haven't been on Weight Watchers for years and years and years. So maybe I have to investigate it again. I just always, my ultimate goal is to be plant-based and
Okay.
to really go in that direction. So I always feel that, you know, when you see Nutrisystem, my husband goes, oh, let me, look, why don't we get that? And I'm like, no, I said, they're sending you meals from God knows where, and they're full of preservatives. That's not healthy, you know?
Right, right.
So I have to get over that mindset, but, well, let's save the diet talk, because I'm sure we could do a whole month on diet talks here.
Mhm.
And let's go back to today's topic, which is how do you make long-lasting change? What are those steps? And I've looked at three or four different places where I've got some information, and they don't always gel. And so I think you'll have to see what resonates with you and,
Mhm.
you know, try something. The first one came from Psychology Today. And first, they want to break the myth that people don't change. People do change,
Mhm.
but it's hard work, you know, and it's not something that you can just make up your mind and say, from now on, I'm going to blah, 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 because you will fall. You won't always abide by that. You're going to have setbacks, and you have to accept that in order to keep moving forward. And when we say people don't change, it lets people off the hook. It's like, not my fault. That's the way I am. I'll never be different, right? And so we
Right.
make excuses for our own behavior because people don't change. Not true. So they had four main things. More about, I don't know, beliefs or whatever. The first one is you have to trust that you can change. You have to have that belief in yourself that you can change. So you got to get away from that people don't change mentality and trust that you can change, and you're going to give up all those excuses for why you think you can't change. So you really have to be reflective, I think, about that.
Mhm.
And then you just have to commit, knowing that change is hard. And it's not going to be easy. And I think sometimes we go into this mindset, especially commercials on TV. We're going to go back to dieting for a second. You know, you see those commercials on TV and you see all these people and their before and after pictures. And they're like, yeah, it was easy. I lost 50 pounds, you know, and it gives us the wrong message that
Mhm.
that change is easy. And it's not.
No,
I would
I
say
think,
different for different people, but yeah. Go ahead, Kath.
and the other thing I was going to say is that, hang on, there we go. Okay. The other thing I was going to say, if you really want to change, you have to understand for yourself why you want to change. What is that main reason that, you know, is like going to touch you personally and emotionally that will keep you on that goal, on your goal to change whatever specific thing it is, whether it's a diet or whether it's in business or whether it's whatever your goal is or whatever your, what do I want to say, like the way you want to go, you know, like where you want to end up or where you want to strive to be. You have to have that inner why or that inner reason why you're going to stick to this so that, you know, you'll stay with it along the way. It's, you know, those are the things that are going to motivate you. Your why or your firm belief of whatever is going to keep you motivated to continue on with these changes or
Right.
stick to the one change you want to make.
And a piece of hair stuck somewhere. It's driving me crazy. There, I got it. That's number 2 on the list for motivation, right? And the motivation is that intense desire to make the change. And it goes back to your why. And that why, we're going to explore that a little bit later when we talk about SMART goals and others. But that why has to be strong. And sometimes there's several whys.
Mm-hmm.
So you get to the ultimate why. You know,
Right.
there's like, because this, because that. And you have to keep asking yourself that question so that your motivation is strong, that
Right.
you don't have any chance of failing because that motivation is so strong.
And as you identify those steps along the way, then you'll have an action plan, or maybe not even a plan, but you'll have specific things that are going to help you to get to that next level, as you're going along. So
Right.
you can say, I want this, whatever it is, as my end point, or as
Mhm.
my aha, like I made it. But you got to do those little things to get to that big aha, I'm here, kind of thing.
Yep.
Make sense?
Absolutely. Their number 3 is recognize the benefits. So I think you have to do that ahead of time, right? So you say, when I, whatever the goal is, do this, I will be blank. And it could be an emotion, or it could be an action, or a physical state, or whatever it is. But recognizing, when I reach that goal, this is what it's going to be, right? And that has to be really realistic, because it can't be, when I lose weight, I'll be happy.
Right.
We already talked about happiness. Happiness is a choice, and you can be happy right now, no matter what your condition is. But recognizing the benefits, like, what's in it for me?
Mhm.
Why am I going to work this hard? What's that reward? And recognizing that. And then also, number 4 is recognizing the negatives if you don't change. And I think it's really healthy to write those things down. If I don't change, if I don't lose weight, whatever, A, B, and C are going to happen. And then there's a whole slew of other things that could happen. And so recognizing both the benefits and the negatives is going to help you maybe fine tune that why and that goal, and get you motivated to make that change.
And make realistic goals too.
Right.
Because you can't say, when I make X number of dollars, I can be independent.
Yeah.
Those two are not always linked together. So, you have to set what your, priorities are, as far as what does independence mean to you. And then you'll know, when I get to whatever, that's where my independence is going to come from, or that's where my happiness or feeling successful will come from.
Yeah. And I think being very specific, because independence could mean a lot of things. So I think you have to dig into, what does independence look like, if that's what your goal is. My unrealistic goal would be, gee, when my daughter visits, I can share her clothes. That ain't never going to happen. I know that. But maybe.
Who knows?
Yeah. Okay. So lifehack.org had another take on it, and they have 5 different points that they made. And this is where things kind of collide a little bit, because they say squash motivation. They say, don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for willpower. Okay. And they're just feelings, and they can be very vague. And we have a special guest speaker that is supposed to show up right now. And I don't see them popping in. It was a Mr. William Power. William Power. I guess he's not going to show up. Will Power. You got it, Camille. Yeah, willpower comes and goes, right? Oh, you got a lot of willpower. No, you've got motivation, and you've got your why. But you can't rely on willpower, because we know willpower doesn't always show up for us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's there and we love it. And other times, hello, is there a Mr. Will Power in the room? No, not here. The next thing that Lifehack said was, you're going to find and go to the best possible environment for the area of your life that you want to improve. So if you want to get fit, you should hang out in a gym, right? You should get out of your house and actually go and be with other people who are trying to get fit, and use that community. If you want to meet somebody new, you're not going to do it at your computer, right? even those online dating things. I know people are successful, but you probably need to be out where you're actually meeting people.
Mhm.
Harder in COVID, but singles events or whatever. So put yourself in the environment for that thing that you want to improve in your life or you want to change. They also mentioned something about work productivity. So if you're a work from home person and you're finding that you're not very productive, they said go to a co-working space. So I don't know what that is. I don't know if there's actually locations or maybe a coffee shop with Wi-Fi, someplace where you can be away from the distractions of your home or whatever's stopping you, and put yourself in an environment where you will work. So that was their number 2 choice, their number 2 suggestion. So best possible environment for the change. Number 3, recruit an elite team for free to help you. So friends to help hold you accountable, right? This isn't to socialize, but they went as far to say is like, Camille, can you come over and watch me while I try to do this today and make sure that I stay on track? It's kind of like you've hired a babysitter for your friends, your friends are going to help you. And maybe it's, you can help them right back. Maybe they're working on something too. And maybe you have a weekly meeting to check in and have somebody else there to help you and hold you accountable. And maybe it's reciprocal. I think that's probably the best situation because, who's got time to go babysit somebody else with their goals? You got your own goals.
Right. Having an accountability partner with someone that has some of your same goals, or at least one of your same goals.
Right.
And that's where you can hold each other accountable for.
And I think the hardest part of that is not using that time for social time, but using it for working on the goals. Number 4, you have to build new habits for change, right? And your big goal for change is not going to happen in one leap. You're going to have to take little steps across the pond, little, what is that? Stone skipping kind of idea, or, one step at a time. So you want to start small and develop those smaller habits to lead to a bigger habit. So one example they gave was that this fella had gone to a retreat for meditation. And every single morning he got up at this retreat, made his bed, and then went and meditated for 30, 40 minutes. And he's like, he felt so good about it. He says, I want to do that when I get home. I want to continue this. I think this is really good for me and healthy for me. But when he got home, it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all. So what he started to do was connecting the desired behavior to something that you're already doing. So every morning he would get up, make his bed, and then his first goal was to sit on the bed after he made it, close his eyes for 10 seconds and just breathe and just stay there. And so after a month or so, he increased the time. And then you keep doing that until finally you're doing the desired behavior. And it's important that you tie it to something that you're already doing. So for him, making the bed was something that he already had a habit of doing. And so he tied it to that. So in making my bed, I also have to do this 10 seconds or whatever it is. And so when you tie it to something, it's going to be easier to accommodate that, and then you just increase the time or increase the next step on there. I thought that made a lot of sense.
No, it does.
Especially, especially if you can target something that you're already doing that naturally ties in with where you want to go and what you want to do. Me, I have no discipline in my life at all. I don't know if I do anything always, except for come here on Saturday Zoom. So this is my tie. And then the last thing they said, and this is true for anything, they said, create more time for working on the goal by eliminating or at least limiting social media. because we know how that is. You can get tied up in social media all day long, scrolling. Oh, that looks good. I'm going to share that too. And, you know, you just end up, it's not meaningful time, you know. Even when I'm trying to work on the business and do things on social media, I still find myself, you know, in la la land looking at, oh, dogs or whatever it is. So they suggest limiting that, and just in general of removing the distractions in your life. Who was it? Someone I was talking to said, might have been one of you, that they had to actually put doors on their office. Like their office was like my office, where you just walk in the front door and it's right here. I have no doors. And so someone was like that, said, I had to put doors on my office so that the rest of my family knew that when I was in there and the doors were closed, you know, don't bother me. Don't come near me. So.
But also that could work two ways. You know, don't bother me. I'm in here working. But when you're done working for the day, you can close those doors and say, I've left the office.
Right.
I'm done for the day. So now you can enjoy the other things in your life, or you can work on whatever, do whatever you want with the rest of your life in, you know, your family or friends or whatever, and not think about that work after those doors are closed.
Absolutely. I think a lot of people have that issue with working at home, is that we're never done working.
Can't separate yourself from the work and what comes next or what you want to do.
It was like that. I don't know if Bobby has the same, you know, with phys ed, but I was never free from the work. I would go into work, you know, go in before school, teach all my classes, stay an hour or two afterwards, come home, see my husband, maybe have some dinner, and then often go right back to work.
Yeah, she has that phys ed in health. So she still has to, like you said, set up the, you know, the work plan for the week or whatever you call it, you know, to get that all situated. She still had to do testing, both written and, you know, other testing for the other part of phys ed as well.
So it never ends. We're either teaching, grading, or planning, or researching for planning.
Right. Right.
And it's hard to get away from that, and that's not good for your health. Not at all. So.
All right.
All right, on to the third article, and that was it was from hustleandheart.com, and they say willpower is not the issue. So they agree with that second one, that, you know, you can't go with willpower. You can't use it as an excuse. I don't have any willpower, right? And then this is where I like, it says your goal needs to be finite. All right. So you can't just have, you know, I want to lose weight. Well, you have to be a lot more specific about that. You have to get down to how much weight and how much time you're giving yourself and why are you losing weight. So but you also have to limit decision-making in creating, in reaching that goal. So case in point for me, taking the decision out of it makes the new behavior easier, right? You take the choice out, you don't have a choice, there you go. You can always go for the right answer. So with dieting, it's easy. If you're hungry, you plan ahead by making sure there's only healthy food there. There's only healthy choices. And you spend some time in meal prep. So if you know you always get an afternoon, you know, munchy craving or whatever, have healthy things ready to go. Carrot sticks, celery sticks, whatever, you know, hummus, whatever is a healthy choice for you, to avoid eating the cookies, because you know when hunger strikes, we've all been there, right? Where you get hangry or just uncomfortable or ravenous and you're like, I'm going to eat this because it's easy. And you know, or I keep my chocolate bars. These are sugar-free chocolate bars, but I keep them. I don't eat the whole thing at one setting. No, but you keep things around. And so my only problem with that is with dieting. If I prep all this food, I end up not eating it all. And then I feel like I'm wasteful. But yeah, you have to limit the choices or get rid of them altogether so that you don't have an opportunity to stray from the path that you've put yourself on.
Yeah, you're not going to take that, like you said, that stray or that path that will lead you to failure. So you want stuff that's going to lead you to, getting to your goal. And like you said, you meal prep. You can even do little packets as part of your meal prep of snacks.
Right.
And have the portions are already set for you with that meal prep too.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than grabbing a bag of something and eating out of the bag where you don't have any sense of how much you actually ate. And then you look at the bag, you say how much is left. You're like, ooh, I don't want to have to add those calories up, or
and
whatever.
It could be a healthy choice of the thing that you ate, but when you eat too much of it, then you're defeating the purpose of the healthy choice.
Absolutely. Number 3 on their list is redesign your habits. And so that requires a system. You have to actually have a system for how you're going to proceed, how you're going to act in every situation. Your ifs, ands, and buts are all accounted for. So let's see if I can make sense of this. Your goals are reached through a system. The system is a culmination of your processes and your habits. The decisions that you make set your trajectory on this path, and your habits will determine how far you go. So you want your habits to be efficient and on autopilot. So you want to get it to the point where you've created these new habits as part of a system that eventually will be on autopilot. And so you won't have to think about it. You just do certain things because you've set it in motion, that you've set it in place, that this is the habit. And I've read some things, or, we've probably all seen that it takes so many repetitions to create a habit. And I read something else that said, nope, that's not true. It really depends on the person, the set of circumstances, what they're trying to accommodate in their life. And so it may not take, 10 days of this habit. It may take a lot more, or it might take a lot less. It just depends on what it is. But the idea is to create those new habits and redesign them for efficiency. All right. Once you have those habits, reward the habits. So you have to be really self-aware. Again, I'm going to go back and say what is obvious, that change is hard. It's hard work. And I think you also have to plan for the failure. That, you're not always going to make the right decision. You're not always going to stay on the path. And so what do? But when you do, you have to be self-aware. So you can identify what went wrong, maybe why it went wrong, what was going on in your life that you suddenly forgot the habit or strayed from the path or whatever it is. But as those habits become a part of your identity, you want to reward it. And I would say not rewarding it with chocolate cake if you're on a diet, find a different reward, right? Something that's going to help with your goal. And it also says you need to redefine your identity. So if you have this excuse that you've always said, well, I'm not good with money, I've always been really bad with money. Well, then you have to redefine yourself and say, okay, from now on, I'm not going to be bad with money. I'm going to be okay with money. Maybe the ultimate goal is I'm really good and efficient with money, but the small step would be I'm okay with money. I'm making better choices. But redefine how you see yourself, because if you just rely on that old that identity of, or excuse rather, that not good with money, you've just set yourself up to fail, that you'll never achieve that goal. So reward yourself and redefine your identity. And then the other part of this that I really liked were questions. And as we talked, you know, change has to be really self-reflective. And we're going to talk about some SMART goals in a minute, but you have to be very reflective to figure out, what is this change? Why do I want to make this change? What in my life is stopping me? What are some things that will help me? You know, in all ways, you need to be reflective about it. And there are certain questions. So the first question is there a hidden part of me way down deep that objects to this new goal, right? That doesn't want me to succeed? What is that? Try to figure out what that is. I'll give you a case in point. Deep down in my brain somewhere, I guess, because I don't think it's in my heart. I think it's my brain going awry. I think if I lose weight, all my wrinkles will pop out because I won't have this full face that takes my, like, you know, if you get skinny, my wrinkles are going to get all wrinkly. And I want to have a youthful appearance. So I think, you know, psychologically, subconsciously, maybe that stops me. I don't know. You know, my fat face hides all my wrinkles. I don't know. But, you know, look inside of yourself and see, is there something stopping you? Is there something that objects to the goal? The second one, what's the story I've been telling myself about this goal? Is it true? Right? So maybe my dream of getting fit and being, you know, losing weight is because I still want to be an actress and I want to be discovered and go to Broadway, right? Probably not going to be a strong enough why, because it doesn't seem realistic. Is that a true scenario that could happen? Unlikely. I mean, yeah, pretty unlikely. I'm living in Florida now, not in New York City. So what is it you tell yourself? What is, you know, what's the story? And I just identify it. What, is it true? Or are you lying to yourself? And that's a hard thing to recognize because, you know, certain people, I know there are people out there, and I was related to one of them for a while, who have such an ego or narcissistic behavior that they don't believe that they ever do wrong, and none of their decisions are wrong, and, you know, that they're perfect, which of course I think deep down in their hearts they know they're not. It's just, you know, a facade. But identify, you know, that story. And the last one is, do I believe I am the kind of person who can achieve this goal? Now, my daughter, when she was here, she tried to get me to do exercise every single day. And she was motivating to me, but she was also unmotivating to me because, you know, while I wanted to be fit and I wanted to be in good health, I look at her and I think, I'm not the kind of person who is going to work out 2 or 3 times a day like she seems to want to do. And so I don't feel like it's realistic for me to even try. So I have those negative thoughts that stop me from doing a simple thing like taking a walk or whatever. And I'm working through that. I really am. But, you know, do you believe you're the kind of person who can achieve the goal that you're trying to get to, right? So my goal would not be to fit into my daughter's clothes and look like her. That's not achievable. I don't know where this last part came from. It's not, I must have gotten it from someplace, but who are you? What do you want to change? What's the reward? Why? What steps will it take? Where do you start? And you always start small. So you have to ask yourself those hard questions before you can begin. Just looking at time here. So that leads us to SMART goals. And SMART goals are great. You know about SMART goals, right? You guys know about SMART goals. SMART goals, they use that acronym SMART to talk about the different parts of a SMART goal. And the first is that it has to be specific. I want to lose weight is not specific. And I'm sorry I keep harping back on the weight thing, but that seems to be one of my goals that I can talk about. And I apologize because this week has been crazy, a lot of different things happening. And I really wanted to kind of write out my goals and write my system and all of that stuff. So that's coming. Maybe I can share that with you next time. I don't know. But I wanted to have kind of an example of the work it takes to get through that, planning your goal and your system and your steps and all of that. But SMART goals are very specific. I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay. Then measurable. Okay. So the first one is I want to lose weight, but you make it measurable by saying how much weight, right? And then is it achievable? So, okay, losing 20 pounds, that seems to be achievable. And then it's relevant to me because my clothes don't fit and I want to be able to move more easily. So I'm putting some of my whys in there. And then finally, is it time bound or limited? So, if I say I want to lose 20 pounds and I don't put a time frame on it, I can achieve my goal in about 40 years. I may not be alive then. But say, give yourself again, reasonable amount of time. So 20 pounds in 6 months, something like that. And get all of those pieces in place. And once you identify that SMART goal, then you can build on there and figure out, okay, what are the action steps? Kathy, you got any notes? I've been talking so long. Hi, Deb.
Hi, Deb. I'm kind of I am with you on this because you have to identify your specific goal, like you said. Is it measurable? You talked about the weight loss, or it could be something else. So yes, it's measurable, but that's unique to you. Is it achievable? Sure, if you give yourself the right amount of time. So like you said, you want to lose 20 pounds in a 6-month period of time. You could also lose that 20 pounds in a 3-month period of time. And it could be sustainable if you just keep up with the lifestyle, right? So that's achievable. Is it relevant? Yeah, it's going to help you be healthier, right? So that's, part of the relevance there too. And like you said, time bound, limited. It's not a limited goal. You don't have to stop at that 3-month or 6-month period. Does that mean you're going to continue to lose weight? Yeah, probably. But
you can reset the goal at that.
You can reset the goal at that point. Once you get to that reset, that's perfect. You reset the goal, because if you forget about that goal, what's going to happen? The weight's going to go right back up, right? Because we said, oh, I reached my goal, I'm done.
Right.
Because it's a lifestyle change, or if you put it in your mind, whatever it is, it's a change for the better, whether it's a lifestyle change or, something in business or whatever you're talking about. If you drop that, once you achieve that, you're going to go backwards.
Right. So change is permanent. I mean, it should be permanent.
Should be. But you have to keep working for it. You can't just say, okay, I'm here, I'm done, let it go. That's not the good part. So that's why, when we're talking about a specific goal, or if you're looking for a specific goal, make sure it's a sustainable type goal too, that you can keep working at that, whether it's little bits a day or however you want to, depending on your goal, so you can sustain that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the SMART goals help you to make that permanent change.
Right,
and
exactly.
Even if when you reach your desired outcome, In order for that change to be permanent, you have to establish those habits and keep going, right?
Right.
I watched the video. I started to get on YouTube and I found all these videos about change and making changes in your life. And one of them was from Joe Rogan. And I didn't really know him. And then since then I've seen him a couple times on TV, but he says we dabble in self-improvement, right? That we try something and then we fail, and then we try something else and we fail, and we don't really make permanent change. And he says it takes a lot more work to actually have that long-lasting change. So his first thing, and he drops the F-bomb in this a lot, but it's kind of funny and it's kind of tough love. He said, write it down and go for it. Live your life like you are the hero of your own movie, which I love that. It's like, wait, you get to design it, you get to write that movie, and you get to be the hero. And so everything that you do is to achieve that goal. And you don't want to fail because, wait, you're the hero. You have to succeed, right? At least that's how I would write it if I was writing my own movie. He also said, don't seek comfort. Know that it's going to be hard and work hard. So I think sometimes we set off on a goal and we set up those steps and then it becomes hard. And then we get to be like little whiny cats, pussy cats. I'm like, and then what do? We reward ourselves without reason, right? And we bend the rules but it's hard. And he's like, don't seek comfort, work hard, get through it, and don't coddle yourself. And number 3, show up and be disciplined. 90% of success is just showing up. So I will put the link for that. I have a bunch of links for the things that Kathy and I found on change. And I have some other videos that are fun and interesting. I thought his was the most fun because he was just like, tell it like it is. And, don't make excuses. So I want to go into the why. Kathy, you started talking about the why a little bit more. And the why is so very, very important. If you don't have that strong why, and if you're not emotionally tied to your goal and why you want to change, it ain't going to happen. Right?
Right. I think with me, and I hate to keep bringing everything back to diet or something along those lines, or losing weight.
Something we can all relate to. So I think,
yeah. So when I first started at quite a while back, I went with this one particular group of chiropractors, and we have 10 chiropractors in our family. Not all of them live close enough where we could keep it, like a repeated thing to keep going to the same one all the time. But there was one group that, kind of sat with me, and then, well, in my heart too, of what they were doing in their office. And they talked about lifestyle changes, and they told us to link it to a why. Why do we want to be healthy? Why do we want to move forward with our treatment plan from them, as well as other things? And so one of the things was anchor yourself to, your why. Why do you want to lose that weight? Why do you want to be healthy? My thing with me was I had a 2-year-old grandson, and my daughter had just had her second baby. And I'm thinking, I don't want to be one of those grandmas that sits back and watch them play. I want to be down on the floor playing with them. I want to be outside running across the lawn with them, tumbling, doing everything that they're doing. So that's what got me motivated to lose weight and to be healthy. So of course I continued with all my chiropractic adjustments, but I also, went on a healthier eating plan, which they talked to us about. I got rid of, the toxic things in my household, whether it be food or products that I was using. cut that because that does a number on your immune system, right? I started to exercise. And exercising, you're increasing the oxygen, getting that flowing. And so that's helping all parts of your body, not just to lose weight, not just to tone your muscles. So that helps everything. And so, like I said, there was the chiropractic, there was the eating plan, there was what my motivation was, what my why was, getting rid of toxins. And why am I forgetting the one last thing? I don't know. Let's see. But anyway, those were the things that got me motivated, along with knowing I'm going to be there for my grandchildren and the rest of my family. So I guess that's my big thing on why anchor your emotion to something that's more sustainable for you, that you really feel that is important to you as to why you want these things, you know, whether it be the health or other goals that you have.
Another example is that when you cheat on whatever it is that you're trying to do, your action or your goal, when you cheat, you've already set up yourself for failure. Not because you ate something that you weren't supposed to eat, but because of the whole concept of cheating. This signifies that the behavior that changes, the behavioral changes that you're currently working on are only temporary in your mind, right? And so if you think, well, I can cheat because someday I won't be having to do this. And so, you know, this is, when you hit your goal, you're going to stop that behavior, right? And we talked about that before, that change, permanent change requires behavioral changes, which requires new habits. So when you have the idea of like a cheating on your diet or a cheat day, you're already setting yourself up for failure, because that's saying that someday you're not going to eat like this, instead of making a lifelong change, right?
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? It made
Yeah.
more sense in my head when I wrote it down before. So yeah, that's why thinking of all of these changes as lifestyle changes rather than a diet or something that's only temporary, because you can't cheat your life, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Don't find an excuse, find a way. And the journey for your dreams starts from within. So, and I think part of it is the passion for your goal, but even a greater part of it has to be your brain and figuring out who you are. Maybe go back to say, how did I get in this position where I want to make this change? What was the behaviors that led, that I'm currently doing that I don't like? And again, it's all about self-analysis, and that in itself takes work. It takes time. I don't think I can sit down after this and start to create my plan and be finished with my plan for how I'm going to change my lifestyle and my behavioral choices, for to lose weight and to get healthy and all of that. I don't think I can sit down and do it in one session. I think it's going to take a lot of work just before the real work starts to identify, it's like I said last week, psychology 101, going back and psychoanalyzing yourself. What am I currently doing and why? How did I get in this position? What do I want to change? Why do I want to change it? And all of those different components. And then once I have that in place, what are the small steps? What are the small action steps that lead to bigger action steps that lead to lifelong habits to make that change? I've been talking a lot today. I want to hear from some of you, your opinions, your ideas. Camille, you always have great things to say. You got anything to say today? I don't want to put you on the spot, but.
No, it's okay. I've been taking notes, and I've been a little bit distracted because my dog is being weird. But so for me, my goal is to incorporate, and I'm just actually redefining it as you're talking,
Right.
but more mindfulness into my day. So that means making the time to do meditation, doing those things that are that are self-care, that are going to help to, you know, just help me like in my health journey, which is where I'm at right now. And so just so many things that you touched on, I've just been taking notes. You know, what excuses do I make? Like, because there's always something that you can be doing instead of what you think that, you know, besides what that goal is, and how do you incorporate that into it? But one of the things that I just thought about is kind of redefining what that looks like and what that means, right? Because, you know, mindfulness, that self-care, just that relaxation time can take on so many different things. And so maybe for me, the reason why I'm not being successful is because, you know, I'm saying it has to look like this. You know, it has to be where I sit down for 10 minutes and meditate, or I have to, you know, do whatever. So one of the things, and I was talking to our friend Meg actually about this, and she has this whole big list of those things that kind of fall under that umbrella that can help you be successful. So it's not just that one thing, right? So if I don't have time, maybe I can sit down and I can do something creative, or I can sit down and I can listen to music for a little bit, or whatever that means. So, you know, for me, I tend to be very structured. And, you know, right now in my life, I'm experiencing things that are like flying in the face of structure, like basically saying, we're not going to give you structure. So I have to learn how to still accomplish that goal, but also allow myself some grace to do that. So
Maybe,
adapting.
you know, you're sorry.
That's okay. Go ahead. I was just going to say adapting to different things that are coming at you, and how you can still have that relaxation or that meditation in doing other things, whatever makes you happy,
right,
basically, to do.
And
yeah, I think it's redefining what that means, you know, because for me, honestly, I'm thinking, I don't think I have the personality that, because when you're talking about like redefine yourself, the first thing I thought of was like, okay, I've heard this. Like, I'm going to say, I'm the person that sits down and meditates each day, but am I really? Like,
you have to believe it first, right? That was
right,
part of it.
right.
You have to believe, am I this kind of person? Is this a realistic goal for me? And what I was going to say, what I heard you say there made me think about, are you listening to the message that the universe is sending you, right? Because you have all this chaos in your life that is disrupting your very structured life. What is it telling you? Maybe it's telling you that you do need some of this unstructured time, that you do need to just relax and not worry about everything, all your ducks being in a row or whatever it is. And I think that goes for all of us, that sometimes I think sometimes the universe hits us in the face several different times until we finally go, oh, you know, I have to adapt and change. And this is the message that I'm getting, is that whatever it is, I don't have an example necessarily, but, you know, listening and taking every situation or anything that happens to you, especially if it's something out of the ordinary, and saying, what can I learn from this?
For sure.
What is life trying to tell me right now? And how can I deal with it in the most positive light, which may mean change, maybe not, I don't know. So.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it's just so much that I'm thinking about that with this, and but most of it is like, let's get out of the box. You know, there's other ways to be successful than maybe what you thought, you know, was that one path.
That's great.
And it's taking each thing as it comes. So it's not just how do you deal with this? Well, actually it is. How do you deal with a setback? What can you do differently to help you, instead of following that, you know, specific, narrowed, you know, all the ducks are in a row kind of thing. So what are you doing with that setback? Change it a little, and you know, that could be.
And I think that, I mean, that's very true for like whatever that goal is, whether it's, you know, a diet goal or, just like that self-care goal. And so I think that's why it's really important also to kind of have that list of like, what are your options for this? So like, okay, woke up late, you know, slept in or whatever, did not do my morning meditation. So what else can I do? What else is an option on that list?
Exactly.
If you're talking about diet, okay, well, I ate that cupcake. Okay, so what else can I do to kind of reverse it? Not just like eat another one because I've already like the day's done, so I might as well have another one. But maybe you do something to offset that. You know, like, okay, this was however many, my Weight Watchers mine, this is how many points. Okay, so I probably have this many points left. Okay, maybe we have a salad for lunch, or maybe we whatever. So it's definitely that mindset change, and not being stuck in that one path.
Exactly. Because life is ever changing, right?
Exactly. Yep, for sure.
I think another thing is like, if you have a setback and another setback and another setback, I think you also have to stop and reevaluate, because if you keep having the setbacks, or if you keep failing, then maybe your goal isn't reasonable, or maybe your actions aren't reasonable. And so always taking that time to go back and reevaluate, and not just accept that you're a failure, but work through it and figure out, okay, I'm not a failure. I just didn't have the right goals in place or the right action steps in place, and reevaluating everything. So.
Okay, so I don't know who said this quote, but I did find a quote that says, "The champion shows up. Success only knows you showed up." So being successful, like it says, the champion shows up, what you do to get to that goal. But once you're successful with that goal, that's just saying, yep, I succeeded in this, and I made it through all these, specific things to get there. To me, that's kind of what it means. I don't know, because you're a champion for yourself. You did what you needed to do. So you're number one.
You're the hero of your own movie.
Right. Exactly. Just another way of saying that, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Love that. Well, this has been really, really, really just thought provoking. And like you said, it's not like something that you're gonna, in most cases, for your goals, just like sit down and do it in one fell swoop, and you really think about it, because it's so multifaceted and there's lots of things that you have to consider. However, I would also say that doesn't mean that you can't start, because like for me, I can get so into, okay, I have my notebook and now I got to make this plan and I've got to like set this structure. So I'll start as soon as I get that structure set.
You could say, in the meanwhile, I'm only going to eat carrots. I'm going to cut some carrots off or something. Yeah, you can always start small steps, even if you don't have the whole plan in place. I agree.
Right.
That's good. Well, you know what? Kathy and I talked about supplements at one point as to be a next subject, but I think we talked before we went on the air here that maybe mindset is a good place to go from here, because we've said it over and over again, throughout this conversation. Mindset and mindfulness. I think those two things kind of can go together. I do have an expert on mindfulness, but I don't think she's available until June. I'll have to ask her again. I'll have to go back and find out. But we do have Kathy's daughter who's really into mindset. She's got a lot to say on that. I have a couple books on that. So maybe that's what we do next week, is talking about mindset and recognizing how our brain can deceive us and that we have to set it straight. I don't know.
I will talk to her and see if she can hop on next week with us.
That would be good.
Yeah.
Good. Any final thoughts, anyone? I'm glad that we were helpful to you, Camille. I find that Saturday Zoom is probably most helpful to me, because and I like to share what I find, but when I start doing the research and I find all of this, it's like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. People need to know about that. So I like to share it, but I also learn so much, and there's so much benefit. And I just love having the opportunity to get on and talk to you all about it.
And I like hearing everyone else's feedback. when you guys contribute too, it makes it just that much more powerful for everyone. Of course, for me, and I'm sure for Linda as well.
Yeah, the rich conversation. I'm all
Yeah.
about. I wish, I wish people interrupted me more so I didn't have to talk so much. Because I like to hear your perspective. I like to hear, things that I didn't. Just because I did the research doesn't mean that I know everything. I don't, and everything's up for interpretation. So,
And then
you guys join in.
I think with everyone's experience with different things, they bring a lot to the table too, because it might spark a different, something in our minds that, oh yeah, and, maybe something that we've read or somebody, maybe a conversation we had with someone, or even being at a seminar or listening to different podcasts and things too, that we could bring up that might help that person a little bit more. So I like hearing everybody's take on things and their experiences and what they've been through. Right, Mary?
Mary's having none of it today. You're on mute. Are you trying to talk?
I always mute because my dog barks.
Yeah.
But yes, I found this very thought-provoking. And I have so many bloody thoughts in my head that I can't even pick one out. But when I'm very quiet, that means I'm just thinking and and I'm trying to absorb it.
Well, good. Pick something small, make your first goal something small and certainly attainable, and maybe attainable in a shorter amount of time so that you can go through the process and feel success before you attempt a second goal or a second change.
Yes.
That would be my suggestion. Hopefully
Well, I listen to a lot of meditation at night when I'm trying to go to sleep meditation to help me sleep. That's my main. But because I'm very bad at meditating, so I'm trying to teach myself how to meditate.
I'm bad. I don't meditate. I wish I had it in me. I am not a still person. I'm always constantly on the move, and so is my brain. And so I find that I quiet my brain in two ways. Not every morning, and that's because things are going. Okay, I'll tell you, my nightly routine is I have this journal of 100 days of something or other that I bought. And there's a passage to read written by the author, and then a Bible verse and a prayer. And then there's a spot to write for journaling. So I use that to talk to God, and dear Lord, blah, blah, blah. And it's related to whatever I just read. And so I end my night with that. And then I say additional prayers as needed for other people or whatever, thanking God for the day and all the wonderful things that happened or the people that I communicated with. And so I find that routine helps me to calm my brain, because if you give it to God, then you have nothing else to worry about. So that calms me. And then also, in addition to that, which used to take more time, or I used to do it more often, but now because I'm doing the nightly journaling, a couple of times a week, I take my journal and I talk to God and I write out my prayers, and a lot of times it's more self-reflective. It's, I'm talking to God, but I'm really talking to myself. And then I just read something that somebody wrote, can't remember where they said, when you talk to God, you're really talking like God is in you and God is you, and you're talking to yourself. And I'm like, that's what I do. That's, I'm talking to God, but I'm reflecting on myself, and I'm writing out my problems and ideas and what should I do? Oh, that's what I should do. Here's my next steps. And I journal it. And a lot of those things help me to calm my brain so that I can be still. So I consider that journaling my meditation in a way. But I still know I want to go to the next step at some point and just sit. So maybe I can tie it to the behavior that's already happening. Can't do it at night because I fall asleep. Half the time I fall asleep during my prayers. But maybe in the daytime when I'm writing in the journal, that I close my eyes for 10 seconds and meditate and tie it to that behavior.
So maybe while you, the reason why you're falling asleep halfway through your prayers is because you've already written everything out. You've already did that journaling and whatever, and now you're relaxed enough where you feel you're praying and then you fall asleep. Whereas when I'm praying, I feel like my mind takes off in so many different ways. You know, like I'll start praying and then I'll go shoo in this direction or that direction, or replay some of the things that happened in the last couple of days. So maybe for me, maybe that would help me by writing things down like you're doing ahead of time, then move to the prayer part, the true prayer of me talking with God and being grateful and asking for prayers for someone or whatever.
Honestly, sometimes my prayers, like in the middle of my prayers, my mind will wander and then there's this whole fantasy going on in my head, you know, like a dream of some sort. And I'll be like, wait, I'm sorry, Lord, that wasn't true. None of that's true. Let me try to get focused again. And then at that point, it's time to just like cut it off and say amen and go to sleep. But, you know, like, I wish I could write down those things that my brain's like doing really wacky things.
Yeah, sometimes my thoughts interrupt my prayer. I don't understand it.
Yeah, what happened to the prayer? Oh, I'm a priest. I don't know.
Wait, God, I'm going to start all over again, okay?
Yeah, I've done that.
I've done that. I do it all the time. So I think I have
girls
to
have
get...
inspired me because I have a really bad habit of, like, I've gotten better, but I do fall asleep to the TV. Okay. But I don't, like, I've gotten better where that I don't most times leave it on whatever. But I have convinced myself that I need like the voices on the TV to kind of quiet my own voices. And then when I get to that little state of like, okay, I feel like I'm drifting off, then I turn it off and I go to sleep. So that's much better. Like I used to sleep with the TV on all the time. So I really want to graduate too, though, that, and I have actually one of those 100 days of gratitude or whatever, things that I do in the morning typically. But I'm thinking I'm gonna, like, for this week, I'm gonna bring it upstairs. I'm going to do it before I go to sleep and try I'm not going to put on the TV just for this week.
Okay, so
I was like, go ahead.
Well, Denny complain. Does he like the TV?
No, he deals with it because he's just Saint Denny and he's so sweet.
But you have the kind of husband like mine who just like turns over and is instantly asleep.
Yep, exactly. Instantly.
Okay, so I don't have a TV in the bedroom. So when I fall asleep to the TV, it's out in our great room, family room, whatever you want to call it. And so I physically have to get up and turn it off and go brush my teeth, do all that stuff before I get into bed. So I feel that's like almost like a little detox time. Yeah. But I think what I'm going to start doing is do that, get that journal out, because obviously I have the same one. Haven't written a thing in it. But I think that would be a good habit to get into. Even if I fall asleep on the sofa, turn off the TV when I do wake up, write for 10 minutes or 5 minutes, whatever my thoughts are, then go do the brush the teeth and stuff like that, then do the prayer. I think that might work better for me.
I'm on day 73 or something like that. I'm almost done with this book and I have another one lined up. So
yeah, I have two of.
And I must admit there were 2 days where I didn't do it that night, but I did it the next morning. And then another day where I did 2 because I was just so exhausted. After I played golf this week, I was so tired. And so I just couldn't even keep my eyes open to read or journal at all. But so I did 2 the next night. But yeah, I feel like it just helps me end the day and, calm the thoughts in my head.
I like that.
Yep.
All right.
Well, we went
for a wonderful morning.
Thanks. We went on a whole different tangent at the end there, but that's okay because, we're just here to help each other.
Right.
It's still a goal. I mean, sleep, I think, should be a goal for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Sleep.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And taking those steps and just know that when you are on that path to try to get better sleep or fall asleep easier, it's never 100%. I can oil up you know, all my oils, say my prayers, do everything the same way. And then certain days I just can't fall asleep. Which I usually throw back to red wine or chocolate or some other, you know, component that is keeping me awake, but it's never 100%. But if you do all the right steps, you make all the choices, you don't do your social media right before bed, you know, there's all these different things that can affect. That'll
Mhm.
be another topic.
Sleep patterns. Oh, we can get into that sleep book.
Yeah, the rest, what was it called? Sacred Rest?
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Maybe
could do that. Oh, Camille,
Play
that'd be
about a
great.
third of the way through
Yeah.
it. I just get, you know, other things happen, but I've been keeping notes as I read, so I have a whole notebook full of things.
So yeah, that would be a great one to do, Sacred Rest.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. This has been great as usual.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank
Thanks,
you, Camille.
ladies.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
You
And
too.
thank
You
you,
too.
Linda.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.